Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Marcello back from Toyota World, and in this video I'm going to talk to you guys about how it feels owning and driving the 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE versus an XLE. So being in this business for as long as I've been in it, doing what I am doing, I have driven many Toyota demos from Highlanders to Venzas to Camrys, 4Runners and so on. And recently I've driven many model year 2018, 19, 2020, and even 2021 Highlander XLEs, and this is my first XSE. Of course, it just came out that I've driven, and I want to talk to you guys about how the drive is. But actually guys, before I get started in this video and this review, don't forget to smash a thumbs up for this video if you've enjoyed it after watching, and of course subscribe for constant cool videos of your favorite Toyotas. I greatly appreciate all my current subscribers. Let's go ahead with this video. Okay, so part of the reason for one of the comments, I guess if you want to call it, on my thumbnail with regards to this lovely SUV Highlander XSE fitting inside of the garage, let's say, is because yes, the XSE from the XLE and the LEs, they are longer. They're a longer SUV by about 4 inches, guys, just shy of 4 inches. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but nowadays the way the builders build the homes, 2 inches in the back, 2 inches in the front, or vice versa, whatever it is, that can mean a big difference in fitting into a tight spot if you are dealing with a tight spot. So do consider that the Highlander XSE, if you are coming from a smaller vehicle, whether it's an XLE Highlander or a totally other brand, do consider that the XSE is slightly longer than the other model Highlanders. And I'm gonna say partly due to the little skirt kit, if you see here along the bottom of the XSE Highlander, both in the back and in the front, it does stick out about 2 inches, I could say. Yeah, about 2 inches. So that's probably where the extra length is coming from. But anyways, not a huge deal, but do keep it in mind, especially if you're trying to park an SUV of this size in a tight spot. Okay, now that we're done with that, let's talk about the driving experience and the driving quality, how it feels driving the XSE versus the XLE. All right, let's start with the tires and the wheels. So on the XSE, guys, you upgraded to a 20-inch alloy wheel, and you see this marking right here. So it's a P235 55 R20. So the 55 has to do with the wall height of this tire. So this is not only a larger wheel by 2 inches, so it's a 20-inch versus an 18-inch on the XLE, but the wall height is also a little bit more shorter than on the XLEs and some of the other trims. So on the XLEs, that number there would read as a 65, meaning that is a higher wall on the tire. So that does make the overall driving experience feel a little bit differently than an XLE. Let's talk about exactly what I mean by that. Guys, really quickly here, thanks again to Maple Toyota for all this fantastic inventory, even despite these inventory crisis issues. So I've got a 2021 Highlander XLE with a smaller 18-inch alloy wheel, and you can see here it's got a much fatter, higher tire wall. This is the 65 R18 on this one. So typically when you've got a bigger tire wall here, it typically means a little bit of a softer, more comfortable driving experience. But I've got to tell you guys, driving this XLE for over a year and then going over to this lovely sport SUV with the shorter tire wall, the overall driving comfort is not really compromised at all. If anything, adding the sport suspension actually just amplifies and increases the satisfaction of you enjoying this drive every time you get into this SUV. So overall, the driving experience driving the XSE versus the other models, specifically the XLE. So I've driven the XLE now for about a year and a half straight, and then just over a week ago I went into the XSE model 2021, and I've got to say, overall you definitely feel more of the road when you're driving this vehicle, both at low speed and at high speed, but not necessarily in a bad way at all. Surprisingly, I didn't really feel any potholes or dips in the road any differently than I would have felt them on the XLE. It's still a very comfortable ride, and I think that's mainly due to the upgraded sport suspension. The effect of having the shorter tire wall than the XLE doesn't really drastically affect any kind of comfort when you're driving the XSE versus the XLE. Now, one thing that I do notice is a difference from the XLE, driving it for a while and now coming into the XSE for, like I said, just about a week. The handling is much more responsive, I find, especially at a little bit of a higher speed. So when you're taking a soft or a sharp turn at a moderate speed of, let's say, anywhere from 40 to 60 kilometers an hour, yes, kilometers an hour, we're in Canada here, you definitely feel like you're more in control of the road and of your steering wheel on the XSE versus the XLE, guys. This is not just a badge, a sport badge, an XSE badge that they put on the back of this Highlander. They really made this feel and look like a sport SUV. Oh, and after I actually had this specific driving experience that I'm talking to you guys about with regards to the handling, I looked down to my settings and in my multi-information display, and I realized I was still in the normal driving mode. I wasn't even in the sport mode. Once you click over to sport mode, yes, you're definitely driving a sport SUV. Okay, now, one more thing I didn't realize was gonna make any difference on the overall feel on the interior when you're driving this lovely XSE Highlander and how it feels driving it is the roof liner, guys. The roof liner on the XSE is black. It only comes black on the XSE. When you go with the XLE, typically, at least for Canada, the roof liner is a very light gray. So it starts from here, it would be gray all the way up and through to the back of the SUV. However, on the XSE, it is all black. And yes, you really feel like you're in a totally different SUV. You don't feel like you're in a Highlander, at least for my consideration, because I've been driving XLEs for so long that going into the XSE, having the full black roof liner really makes you feel like you're in a totally different vehicle. Now, I do have some other videos out there that you guys can check out. I'll put some cards in this video so you can go back later on and see the full review on the interior color selections that you have when you're going with the XSE Highlander. Of course, for this particular XSE, for the demo I'm driving, I did try to get myself a red interior, which I highly recommend. It's probably one of the reasons, like I touched on in one of my other videos, that customers tend to sway towards the XSEs, because you can kind of customize a little bit on your interior and go with a red interior, red leather, which is rare to find on SUVs. So let me show you what this looks like. So it starts with the door panels here. You've got the beautiful red door paneling where you're going to put your elbow here, elbow rest, and then it follows very nicely through to the seating. So you've got the perforated red leather on the inside, and then you've got the black outline trim. Your headrests are also red, and then very nicely accented red stitching on the interior, top of the dash. Flows very nicely. And excuse the two car seats here, but if anyone's a parent and wants to know how car seats fit in the XSE Highlander, well, there it is. So just above, you've got the beautiful black, which really makes a difference on the overall feel on the interior of this SUV. Black roof liner. So, you know, I would say that the Highlander XSE is more for the sport enthusiast, SUV buyer, someone who's looking for a little bit of a different look and feel on the exterior and the interior and the overall handling of the vehicle. Now, to be quite clear, with my experience and selling these vehicles daily, I do strongly believe that if this SUV behind me, the XSE 2021 Highlander, came with a option to have a bench seating and not the captain seats, or either or, like you can get one or the other, I do think that this would be a very, very hot seller, maybe even outsell the XLE perhaps, just because I think people really like and love the styling, the sport front and rear fascia. But again, It is only in a captain seat 7-passenger. If it had the option to go 8-passenger, I do believe we would sell even more of these XSE Highlanders. So to sum this all up, guys, yes, the Highlander XSE does drive different and does feel different than the regular XLE, the Platinum, the Limiteds, and even the LEs, guys. So do keep that in mind when you're looking to purchase the Highlander XSE, and do also keep in mind the extra 4 inches of length on the body. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, smash a thumbs up, and of course subscribe for constant cool videos of your favorite Toyotas.